Yo, this is Kindred with Jam the Hype. I am really excited about this interview. Prior to us starting, I actually was Alex Faith was the first to show up, not to put Swoope on blast in any sense. They both were punctual and on time. Alex Faith showed up, and I was just talking with him about how amazed I was at this project. We will get into that. Ladies and gentlemen, representing We Live as Kings, Alex Faith and the homie Swoope.
What up,
What's going on, fellas? How you guys doing today, man?
Cooling out, brother. How about yourself?
Man, like I said, I serve an incredible guy, so I guess that means I'm doing incredible, man.
There you go. Nice.
Appreciate you guys taking a minute to hang out with us. Shout out to Dre Murray, Chris John Gray for not being able to make it. Your presence is certainly missed, but I'm pretty sure your homies will represent you well. Praise God.
Or at least attempt.
Yeah. At least attempt, right? Quick question, man. Some of us know what WLAK stands for, and I'm sure, you know, there's off-the-record jokes in the circle about what it might stand for. Why don't you share with the people what WLAK stands for?
WLAK, We Live as Kings. We're excited about introducing the idea and concept of what that actually means. I'm sure we'll get into that further in the interview, but it stands for We Live as Kings. We
Live as Kings. Okay. Why not? Go ahead and dive in. What's the idea behind We Live as Kings?
You want that one, Alex?
Sure. So the whole idea is, you know, Romans 8:28, the golden chain of redemption, justified, sanctified, glorified, and those words, all of them being in the present tense in the text, even though that they're not necessarily present tense now. Like, obviously, we're not glorified in heaven with Jesus, you know, living as redemption is fully realized. And so We Live as Kings is basically just taking those realities and those words that Paul uses to describe the believer in a present tense format and say, like, man, yeah, you are presently, you know, in the eyes of the Lord because of the finished work of Jesus. You are glorified. You're as good as glorified. You know what I mean? And so sanctification process justified through the death of Christ. And so taking all of those individual, you know, present tense word, and we have another song on the album called ABNY, which stands for Already But Not Yet, which kind of expounds that idea of living as a king, really until we actually are kings, reigning with Christ in heaven.
Praise God. I like that. You said based on Romans 8:28.
Yes,
so
sir.
For all y'all out there that are, you know, that like to dive in your word, go look that up. And those of you that don't like to dive in your word, go look that up. How do the songs? You mentioned ABNY. In a general sense, like not just ABNY, but throughout the project, how do the songs project or express the overall theme of We Live as Kings?
Well, it's a thematic album, so we want to be very intentional with sticking to that theme throughout each song. So you got songs like Imagine, where the whole idea of the song is imagine a world where people are living up to the standard and the mandate that the Lord has called them to. You got songs like Already But Not Yet, where those words that Alex talked about in Romans are present tense. So they're already happening, but in our finite minds, we do know that we're not presently glorified, not, you know, those things, but they're already but not yet. We live as queens, honoring our wives. Songs like Coward, where you have a very real moment as a king to where there's this 50-50 now or never fourth quarter moment where you ask yourself, am I a king or am I a coward because of my present situation and things like that. So thematic album, very intentional with sticking to kingship and living as kings throughout the album. So sticking to it wasn't that difficult because we knew we were presenting an idea. So there was no time to waver from that. There was no song that we could take a song off from speaking about we live as kings.
Cool. I'm still as much as I love the album and have heard it all the way through a few times, it's like that and Love, Hope, War, shout out to Truth. Those are like my two like main playlist albums, man. It's a really dope album. One of my lines is, when I say we live as kings, he only gave us crowns so that we can lay them at his feet.
Isn't that genius? That's genius.
Phenomenal line. So I guess I just discovered whose line it is, right?
There you go. Alex Faith, the one and only.
Something I mentioned earlier, the musicianship of it was just like phenomenal. I said to Alex prior to the interview starting that it kind of reminded me of old Boogie Down Productions, that it was a very clean sound, a really simple foundation, dope tracks, but a really simple foundation so that the lyricism was out front. And I thought that was phenomenal. Can you guys talk about that a little bit? Like, what was the thought process that brought you to that end result?
I think, like I was saying a little bit earlier before we started the interview, you know, Whit used to be a rapper himself, and Swoope is also a rapper. Swoope did, I think, like 80% of the production, or had his hand in, I think, almost all of the songs, if not produced a good portion of most of them. And I think that comes from just being an artist and knowing what you like. A lot of times when rappers get production, and this is not a diss to producers, but some of the production is so busy that, you know, on our end, when we did it, we kind of built the songs around the artists. And so the production was kind of like the platform that we got to stand on to say what we wanted to say. And a lot of the beats, to be honest with you, we would get production, and then when we would get the mix and master back, the track would be totally changed up. They would take things out, add things in, to where, you know, the production just kind of swallowed up the lyricism and the artists themselves. So it wasn't really busy. It wasn't cluttered. There's a lot of I don't know. It just worked out really well to where it put on display the message more than it did the music, but while at the same time like having incredibly dope production. You know what I'm saying? And kind of
no doubt
trying to raise the standard on that end. So
no doubt. With there being 4 people in the group, or should I say 5 because of Whit?
Mm-hmm.
4, 5, 4. With there being 4 or with there being more than one person in the group.
Mm-hmm.
And again, shout out to Christian Gray and Dre Murray for not being able to make it, man. I'm sure you all were, of course, on one accord, especially with it being a theme project, that you were on one accord when it comes to the gospel message. How was there any difficulty in being on one accord creatively? Creatively. Let's use the English language so that people listening can follow. Was there any issue in being on one accord creatively, and how you guys were with all these different gifts and talents coming together?
Mm-hmm. No, I don't think so. We have a wonderful leadership in Adam Thomason and Michael Luna. And Adam was kind of the one that cast the vision for this record. So there was this net of the theme that was spread out over us, and because we get the comparison to the Avengers a lot, so I'm going to go there. Within the Avengers, everybody does something differently, but when they do it as one. So Swoope, Kristen Gray, Alex Faye, Dre Murray, all 4 separate solo artists, and in coming together, because we're so separate and so different, it meshed well. Like nobody was stepping on anybody's toes. Like, well, you're doing what I do well, or you're doing, everybody was in their own lane. So creatively, no, I don't think there was ever a difficulty. I think that made it much easier to where I don't sing, so let's call Kristen, or I'm not as upfront as Alex, so that it was easy for Alex to kind of be the like, hey, this is what we're saying, and da 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 da. Or I'm not as much of a lyricist as Dre, so it was like, well, you run in that lane. Everybody ran in their own lane, and I think that made it easier creatively, as opposed to being a hindrance where we felt like we were stepping on each other's toes.
Got you. And I think you guys exceeded potentially your own expectations. Certainly exceeded my expectations. I was excited prior to its release, looking at the names, and I'm telling you, man, I'm blown away at the project. Anyone who does not have the project, please take the time to go get it. It's on iTunes. It's on Amazon. Do not get it off your homie's computer. Don't ask your friend to email it. Support their ministry. Pick it up. Physical copies, you guys go as far as doing like Targets and Walmarts and whatnot, or if not, that's yet. Cool. I don't mean that. Not yet. Okay.
You can get physical copies from collision-records.com on the store link. Cool. So we sell them direct from our website.
Awesome. So definitely consider doing that. That's fewer dollars to the big conglomerates. Praise God for what they do to help ministry. Anyway, no diss on Target. Hi, Target. So with WLAK, We Live as Kings, I hear there's a devotional that's soon to come, or is it out already, based on We Live as Kings? I like the look Swoope has on his face.
The conglomerate line made me chuckle.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I get chastised probably once every other interview for something out of left field that I say, and then, man, you can't say that. I'm like, I'm sorry. So yeah, I understand that there's a devotional soon to come, or is it out already? That's based on We Live as Kings.
Yeah, no. It's a day-to-day thing. We're on day 7, I believe now.
Oh, okay.
So every day for 30 days, we're just going to be highlighting and kind of making a little more real and tangible what We Live as Kings actually means. So we started with servanthood, death to the flesh, serving the lesser, not getting caught up in civilian pursuits, all based on scriptures and all based off of the songs on the record. So you can find that on collisionrecords.tumblr.com. Every day for 30 days, we'll be diving in a little bit deeper, to find out what We Live as Kings actually means.
That's awesome, man. You got me curious. I was aware, but I didn't know it was up and running, so I got some catching up to do over the next few days.
Yeah.
Is it a 30-day situation, or so it's once every day?
Once every day for the next 30 days.
Awesome. I'm definitely going to dive in and check that out. I hear there's going to be a few CD release concerts around the country. Do you know how many you have planned currently? Are there more kind of slowly getting locked down? I'm aware that Los Angeles is this coming Friday, March 22nd. Shout out to Steve Ross and the Sound Vision Los Angeles team. That's my folks.
Yeah.
How many do you have more than one stop set up? What's that looking like right now?
Since the album released, we had the opportunity to do a Reach Life event with Tadashi and Pro and the Reach Life folks last weekend in Orlando. This coming Friday, we have Los Angeles, Sound Vision, Los Angeles. We've got, and then the 30th, I think it's the Saturday after this weekend, or maybe the Friday, in Cincinnati with Yavez and a couple of the Ohio guys. Hopefully, Lord willing, we'll get some more. But for now, we have 2 release concerts in LA and Cincinnati.
That's awesome, man. Shout out to all the cats out in the Natty. My homie D-Mob is out there. Mm-hmm. And Yavez. Shout out to Yavez. Man, that's awesome. So let me ask, I'll throw a couple of typical questions out there. Not that anything I've done so far is off out of the ordinary. What's your favorite song on the album, Alex? What's your favorite one, and why?
I bounce around. I've got like 5 favorites.
Okay.
It depends on what kind of mood I'm in. But if I had to give, I can give you a top 2. I love We Live as Queens, and I love Rain is Coming. Those are my 2 top ones. I just felt like We Live as Queens is just musically, it's incredible. And then the content is great as well, but just the production behind that song, the songwriting itself, Chris and Swoope just kind of put their heads together, and that song came out really well. And then Rain Is Coming is just this. I feel like it's the epic song on the album, the culmination of the thought process behind We Live as Kings. Just the way that it came together was like, it was better than I anticipated it being, and I thought it was gonna be great, and it blew that out of the water for me. So
that's dope, man. That's about halfway through the album and near the end of the album. All right.
Yeah.
How about you? How about you, Swoope? What's your favorite joints on the album?
Disclaimer: that is an unfair question.
Right, because you can't tell them your song is your favorite.
Actually, okay. So wait, since you threw a disclaimer, that's cool. So that the umpire called that a ball.
Right.
So,
right.
So.
Well, disclaimer based on the fact that because my hand was in so much of the production, I kind of helped birth all of the songs. So that's like asking me which one of my kids is my favorite. You know,
so let me ask you this then. So I'm getting finger signals from my catcher.
Right.
So here comes the curveball then. 13 tracks, and I know something did not make the album. Yeah. So tell me what your favorite song is that did not make the album, and why is that song your favorite?
Well, honestly, only one song didn't make the album. And, I'm glad it didn't make the album because it never came together. Yeah. It never came together as a complete song. So that would be one of the weaker songs. So that's not a favorite. But to try to answer the question, I would say I would pick 3, and all 3 of them are the other artist's solo songs. I think the authenticity in Coward is amazing. I think the artistry in Long Way Down, which is Chris's song, is phenomenal. And I think the sense of reverence and worship in Dre's Arena, along with, like, 'cause sometimes Christian rappers try to be so reverent and worshipful that they lose their identity in the song and they become like Fred Hammond or somebody on a worship joint. And Dre was Dre on that song. He still kept his swag, still had lyricism and bars, but there was never a moment in that song where you felt like it was irreverent to the King of Kings. So I think he accomplished something phenomenal in that song. So I would pick those 3.
Coward, Long Way Down, Arena.
Yeah.
And you feel like you just played the background the whole album, so there is no favorite Swoope song.
I did not attempt to do that, but when the album came out, I wouldn't even say I played the background. I think it was 25% for all 4 artists.
Okay. All right.
I don't think I played the background.
I'm not trying to start nothing. I'm just, I'm just being an interviewer, man. I'm seeking. I'm trying to find them answers. That's all I'm doing. I appreciate you guys taking the time to sit down and talk. Why don't we do this instead of? I'm going to cut it short just a touch, based on the fact that Christian Gray and Dre Murray were not able to make it. Why don't we wind up ending the interview before I dive into that, what I was about to do based on their absence. Anything you'd like to say to the people that are listening, Alex, as we kind of turn the corner and pull into park and bring this to close?
Well, I wish I had something super eloquent and nice to say, but I said I think. Well, buy the album. I said a lot of stuff on the album.
That's very apropos.
Yeah, I really hope people understand the message behind We Live as Kings and what we set out to do with just setting a higher standard. I know hip hop in general has this has roots in just bad situations that came from poverty, the culture itself. And I know a lot of people who are affected by hip-hop music or the original fan base, and a lot of stuff from, fatherlessness and just a lot of different cultural norms that, in the album we said, live above that. Love your wives, love your kids, raise your kids right. Love, and ultimately, love the Lord Jesus. and try to live up to the standard of be holy as I am holy. And so, you know, I hope people get that. But yeah, so instead of going on forever and ever by the album, we talked about it a lot on there.
Sounds good. How about you, Swoope?
I would encourage people to buy the album, yes, but also ride with us on these devotionals. I think it would be awesome if the album became the soundtrack to the seeds that the devotionals are planting. And well, I wouldn't say this, and I'm not trying to be cocky. I was going to say in 2 years this album won't matter, but I think we made a classic timeless sound. But in 50 years, this record won't matter. But the precepts and concepts that we're bringing out of the scriptures through the record are eternal. So I would say ride with us on this Devo, dig a little bit deeper into what We Live as Kings means, and let the album that you buy be the soundtrack to that. Boom.
That's awesome, man. Something I forgot to do at the very beginning of the interview. You guys hit up the Google Play Store, and you guys hit up the iTunes Store, and you grab that Jam the Hype app. Keep it locked. Because, see, had you had the Jam the Hype app, I'm certain you would have heard something off the WLAK album and been like, oh, my gosh, what is that? And went out and bought it if you hadn't heard it through social networking and whatnot. Swoope, thank you so much for taking the time out. I know you guys are exhausted. You said you're just getting back in from Florida. Thank you for taking the time out. Alex, man, I appreciate you hanging out. What I'm going to do here, because like I said, Christian and Dre couldn't make it, why don't we close out with the music video? I'm Kindred with Jam the Hype. Thank you for hanging out with me as I talk with Swoope, as I talk with Alex Faith, representing WLAK, Long Way Down, right here on Jam the Hype. And this is my Christian Grey impression of the beginning of the video. Jam the Hype. Keep it locked, y'all. Make sure to check out that app. Go get the album, WLAK.
Yeah.
Just search W.L. Forget the dots. WLAK. Find it, download it, check it out. It'll bless you. Get into those devotionals. Yeah.
I of my life, accepting my plight, believing in your lies. But it didn't add up, divided truth, deception multiplies. My eyes, he reached down and grabbed the mud. I cried when I understood his love. Then my crying turned to laughter, and I realized soon after that the fear and pose was just a pose. You were not a factor, but an actor. At the final scene, you won't be around. You and death won't make a sound. It's a long way down.
I wonder how it feels to fall like lightning, because you're full of yourself. It's a long way down, it's a long way up there, it's a long way down, it's a long way from heaven, yeah. I wonder how it feels to fall like lightning, because you're full of yourself. It's a long way down, it's a long way up there, it's a long way down, it's a long way from heaven, yeah.
Jam the Hype, your source for positive hip-hop and R&B. Now on your smartphone or tablet. Playing new music from WLAK.
Boy, I lost it, I'm foolish. Running off at the tulips. Probably wooing all the cruelest, persecutors, the boas. Catch me.
Thistle.
Fresh up off that plane. Touchdown in my city. They flew around the world with this bird on my feet.
Jacob.
And the world is such a beautiful place. Such a beautiful. I know that we can make it.
The Truth.
Since living at the church, got my eyes on the streets. We're looking at the world with the eyes.
The Rose. On our smartphone app, you'll get 24/7 streaming radio, interviews, videos, interact with other music fans, and get live TV broadcasts covering positive hip-hop and R&B events. Now, on the Apple iOS Store and Google Play, Jam the Hype, changing lives with positive hip-hop and R&B. Now on your smartphone or tablet. Jam the Hype, your positive hip-hop and R&B channel.